Welcome back to Space to the Laces. This is your host, Jeff Meyer here. I've got a lot of things on the plate for today. I want to go over AFC North, NFC North, fantasy football, a Twitter troll, ESPN. We've got a few things I want to talk to, but I want to cut to the chase. First thing I want to talk about the NFC North. So this week on the Southbound Sports Show, my cousin Richie stole one of my hot takes from last weekend. We were together at some kind of gun raffle thing in Maryland this weekend. Got to spend some time with him. But more importantly, he stole my hot take of the NFC this year, and that is Aaron Rodgers' revenge year. I'm all in on the Packers this year. I think the Packers are going to go to the Super Bowl. I haven't decided yet if I think they're going to win it or not, but I'm all in on Aaron Rodgers. If you're not familiar with Aaron Rodgers and his past relationship, he was dating Olivia Munn. You know, she's an actress, very famous. They've been on multiple public, at public events and settings. And they just broke things off here recently. I saw it all over Twitter and on the internet. And I really think that this is the year, when celebrities or football players or athletes, have a bad breakup or whatnot, like any human being, there's going to be some sort of struggles and stuff like that. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to channel that, that animosity and anger towards football, get back to the basics. I'm all in on the Packers. Their offense, obviously, Aaron Rodgers, you can put up points. But I also like they brought in Martavis Bennett at tight end. I think that's a great addition. They're going to score some points. They picked up some running backs this year, and the draft is going to help. Their defense should improve. That's the one point I wasn't, very certain on, is if their defense could stop anyone. If you remember back last year when the Packers played the Cowboys basically did everything they wanted. They really couldn't stop them. So I think they added 4 people in the draft at defense. Hopefully, they learn quick. They're a quick study. They can shore up that defense. But based on that, I like the Packers a lot. When you look at the NFC North, the Packers are a clear-cut favorite. A lot of people are pretty high on the Vikings this year. But honestly, I love Matt Stafford coming out, calling out his team, being a leader, being a captain, basically saying that the last couple of years haven't been acceptable, that they're going to rise to the top. So I actually like the Lions second in that division. I think they might be a playoff team. They're on the bubble. We'll see how that pans out. But I'm not really high on the Vikings at all, and the Bears. As the guys went on the other night at Southbound Sports Show, I think the Bears are a joke right now. I don't know how you trade up for, the quarterback from, I believe he's from UNC. Can't think of his name right now, but I don't know how you go up that high for a player who, wasn't really sought out by many other, teams and stuff like that. But talking about that revenge year, though, I think this is the year Aaron Rodgers, he puts it all together, gets back to the Super Bowl, maybe wins it, I don't know. But they're definitely the top of the NFC North. Switching gears now to the AFC North, this one's pretty cut and dry to me. I know, we're Pittsburgh guys and stuff like that, but the Steelers are the head of the AFC North. They're going to win this division unless there's a major injury to, one of the killer bees, whether it's Ben, Brown, or Bell. They're going to win the NFC North. The Ravens are in shambles. Joe Flacco's, hurt. The Bengals, they're like night and day. You don't know what team you're going to see. They have a lot of talent, but they're not going to put it together to win the AFC North. And the Browns are still the laughing joke of the NFL. I think they're going to have like 2 wins this year. I think they're going to, essentially have the worst record in football. They're not good. They picked up some guys, Richie and I are Michigan guys. I like they got Peppers. I think they added some key elements to that team that could help out in the future, but it's not their time yet. They're 5 years away. They need a quarterback. You cannot win in the NFL without a quarterback. They do not have one. I think it's that basic. They don't have a quarterback. They haven't won in years. Basically, one thing that's interesting about the NFL, the top teams that have great management, star quarterbacks, they stay good. They win games, like the Patriots is a prime example. Great coach, great organization, great quarterback. They win games, they win championships. The Browns have none of that. They don't have good management. They don't have a good quarterback. They're not a really good organization. Last time I really remember them being relevant was like 2002 when they almost beat the Steelers in a playoff game. I believe it was at Cleveland. I remember, it's actually funny. I was at Richie's house at the time. We were playing backyard football before the game. We watched the game. It was snowing. I don't remember like the outcome of that, but that was the last time I remember the Browns really being relevant. Under the couple of years there were Derek Anderson, I believe. They were kind of competitive, but other than that, the Browns have been the laughing stock of the NFL for the last 15, 20 years, to say the very least. And also to touch on a few fantasy things, the guys went into pretty good detail. They've been showing the stats, talking about our fantasy league. Richie threw a jab at me the other day, saying I'll beat me twice. Well, 2 years ago, he beat me the championship. Last year, he beat me in the semifinals. So, not a bad season, I'd say, in the fantasy realm. And also, talking about Matt on the show, Richie beat him in the championship last year. So, the three of us had pretty much been holding down our fantasy league. There's 14 people in it. So, I'm expecting the same to happen this year. We'll all three of us probably be there towards the end of that. But talking about something interesting, I just saw on Bleacher Report before I came on here, McCoy was quoted saying, "I think I'm the best back in the league." Well, if you guys heard us on Tuesday night, I think they had McCoy in like 4 or 5 in the fantasy things. Honestly, I love McCoy, Pit Boy. I loved him at the Eagles. I loved him his whole career. Loved him in college. But when you have Le'Veon Bell, you have, David Johnson for the Cardinals, and you have Ezekiel Elliott, who's, a rising star, you're not the best back in the league. Maybe a couple years ago, you, Peterson, were arguably, neck and neck. You threw a couple other names out there. McCoy won the rushing title, I believe, once or twice. But I'm sorry to say, you're 29 years old now. You are no longer the best running back in the league. Hate to say it, especially, being a pit boy. But I don't think, that's, he doesn't even have an offensive line. I don't really understand how he thinks he's going to, I heard, people were saying that he might win the rushing title this year. When you don't have an offensive line, it's not going to happen. When you look at top offensive lines, I say the Cowboys, best offensive line in football. Ezekiel Elliott's going to need his touches. He's going to rack up yards. I saw a report that, people say that the Titans have the second best offensive line and the Steelers have the third. So Le'Veon Bell's going to need his touches, whether, he's in the slot or not or in the backfield. He's going to put up points. I'm really, very interested to see how the Titans do this year. They got a young quarterback. They still have Murray running back. I think the Titans can do some good things, but I don't think they're quite there yet either. Mariota still got to grow up a little bit, but I think they're a pretty solid team. So I just want to go into another thing. Yesterday, it was kind of interesting. On the Southbound Sports Twitter page, at Southbound or at S-Bound Sports, we had a Twitter troll talking about Landry Jones getting back to the AFC North a little bit. When you have a quarterback like Big Ben, you're not really that invested in your backup quarterback. But I think in the next couple of years, we need to find a replacement. Hopefully, Josh Dobbs is it. We saw that online that Dobbs is going to be starting the Giants game, the preseason game. I really like that. Building towards the future. I hope he gets his, a lot of experience in this preseason game and does well. But getting back to that Twitter troll, he was basically, saying about Landry Jones and how he's efficient. He was just going on and on. It looked like, he was a pretty big Landry Jones fan. I don't understand it. So for over a year now, I've been referring to Landry Jones as Lando Jones. It all started with a texting conversation with a couple of my friends. Autocorrect got me. Meant to put Landry Jones, went Lando Jones. Got called out for it. I then flipped the script. I said, I'm not going to learn his, first name. I'm not going to call him by his first name correctly until he grows up, starts playing big boy football. I'm going to refer to him as Lando, being, a shitty kid nickname. Until he actually starts proving that he's a reliable NFL backup, I'm going to refer to him as Lando Jones. Sorry, man, it is what it is. You got to play some big boy football before you, get the respect of being called Landry Jones in my eyes, especially being a Steeler fan. We need, the next quarterback to replace Big Ben. You're not it. I'm really hoping Josh Dobbs is. I liked him at Tennessee. I don't know if he's quite ready, but, I hope Ben plays 2-3 more years, and hopefully by that time, he's the, quarterback of the future. If not, we got to find someone in the draft here in the next 2 years. But I think Ben only has about 3 more years left. I know Richie mentioned that he thinks this is Big Ben's last year. I don't see it. I think he's got more gas in the tank. I think he wants to win another Super Bowl. separate himself from some of the other quarterbacks. And when you're talking about elite quarterbacks, he's got 2 Super Bowl wins, 1 loss. I think if he gets another one, puts him at 3 wins, I think he's starting, to climb to the top of that ladder. Obviously, I think, you guys have heard us all talk about Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady is the best quarterback to ever live. But I think Big Ben is climbing the ranks, putting himself maybe in the top 10. We'll see where, if he gets him a couple more Super Bowls, maybe creep up to that top 5. But without a doubt, he's already top 15, I'd say. But I'm very, very excited about the way he's going to end his career. Hopefully, he can get a championship or 2 left. Mike Tomlin just got an extension, 2 more years. I didn't feel the love from everyone else on the Southbound Sports Show. I think this is a necessary move. I love it. Tomlin has won a Super Bowl, lost one. He's made the Steelers relevant still for the last 10 years or whatever he's been coaching. They've only had 1 or 2 down years. Year in and year out, he makes the Steelers competitive. I think he's a solid coach. I know one of his big knocks, he's not very vocal. He kind of seems like he's not into the games at times, but this is professional football. He's a professional coach. He's worried about the fine details of the game, and he's not a cheerleader on the sideline. I'm cool with that, At the same token, being a Pittsburgh guy, I love Bill Cowher as a coach, love the chin, love the spit, just loved him being aggressive and motivated and shooting guys' asses out when they needed it. But you don't need that in a head coach, I think Tomlin's a good fit for the Steelers. The Steelers, historically, and he's now the 3rd main, head coach in the history of the Steelers. I love how they stick with a guy. They find the guy they want, and they stick with him. I love it. Extend Mike, Tomlin. I hope, they keep winning games. I hope he's a Steelers coach next 10 years, honestly. I'm cool with it. I love the move. I think it's the right and necessary move. He is a player's coach. Antonio Brown, all the guys seem like they love him. Big Ben, I don't think he'd be sticking around if he didn't like him. He could retire. He could have moved on to a different team. But, he chose to stick around. And they won a lot of games, and hopefully they can win a championship or 2 here in the near future. Oh, there's another thing I just saw. Actually, Richie mentioned it to me. ESPN apparently is pulling some of his videos from Netflix. It looks like ESPN and Disney are making a strategic move here to open up their own, video format thing, like Netflix is. I don't know what the terminology is for that, but apparently they're trying to get their own platform for their own videos. I hate this. I hope ESPN dies. I'm sick and tired of ESPN and all their people. Anymore, it looks like ESPN is now like a political platform and not, a sports network. I hope this doesn't pan out for them. I hope this is like another, nail in the coffin, per se, especially after the layoffs this year and everything. I hope people stay with Netflix, love Netflix, and honestly addicted to it. I think this is a bad move for ESPN, but strategic with Disney, pulling all their videos and movies and TV shows together and whatnot. But I just sick and tired of ESPN. It's just annoying in my opinion. One of the last things I want to talk about, I have a few friends that are big football people. I want to have some guest appearances. So I'm going to have the show Southbound, for the Southbound Sports Show, Spaces Laces. I'm going to have it on every Thursday afternoon. So people hopefully post in the afternoon, people can listen to it. They drive home for work, but I want to start getting some guests on the weekend, have guest appearances, so I can upload it to YouTube. My one friend Ian, it was funny as I brought up the Packers. I think they're my Super Bowl pick for the year. I told him that. He loved it. He's a big Packer fan. So growing up, this is one of the earliest memories I can think of any of my friends. So growing up, I was a Steelers and Packer fan. I love Brett Favre. I'll admit it. It's funny. I was a huge Packer fan growing up. Love Brett Favre. Honestly, I say it's Aaron Rodgers' revenge year. I don't even like Aaron Rodgers. Me and Ian have gotten some pretty heated debates in the last couple of years. Me essentially just talking shit on Aaron Rodgers because he's a diehard Packer fan. I'm a Brett Favre dude. Never really liked Rodgers. He comes off as this I don't even know the term for it, but I just think he's an ass, honestly. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. Brett Favre guy. But Ian's in love that, with the fact that I'm all in on the Packers this year. And I plan to have Ian on the, show. We have a little friendly debate, Steelers, Packers, talk a little NFC, AFC. One thing I also want him to talk about, he's huge into daily fantasy sports, DFS. I don't know if you guys are really familiar. I'm sure you are. You see the ads all the time in, sporting events, but with DraftKings and things like that, the betting, he's a huge bettor. He actually in college, he's the one that got me into sports betting, unfortunately. Helped me with, a degenerate habit. But he knows his sports. He knows betting. I want him to come on here and basically in the next couple weeks talk about DFS and, break it down for some newbies, at the end of the day, you got to start somewhere. So I want him to break it down for people who are interested in getting into it. I actually, I don't want to talk about the site I've used, but we've used him and my other friend Nick. We've used this one betting website for the last couple of years. Won some money, lost some money. You know how it is with sports betting. But I've never used DraftKings. I want him to explain it to me, for me, for everyone who's listening. And I want to get into some DraftKings this year. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Also, fantasy sports. Whether it's, fantasy football league or using DraftKings, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I want him to come on here, give a rundown of it. He knows a lot about betting, but I'm looking forward to have him on the future. I also teased it at the NFL draft with Southbound Sports. I think we put it on Instagram. My one friend's a huge Cowboy fan. His name's Nick. I want to get him on the show here in the near future, talk a little Cowboys. Quick story about Nick, and it's a great call move. It's also kind of weird / creepy. In college, I wasn't at the party at the house, but it came up in conversation about the Cowboys. Nick started rattling off names. And then someone realized, he was, 15, 20 players deep, if I remember the story correctly. Wasn't there, but someone's like, can you name the whole team? And Nick's like, yeah, I can name every person on the active roster and most of the people in the practice squad. And everyone's like, shut the fuck up. No way you can do that. So, challenge accepted. Someone got a computer and Nick started rattling off names. Next thing you know, he named all the active roster in the Cowboys. I can't remember what year, so maybe 2013, something like that. And named pretty much damn near everyone in the practice squad. This guy, I call him my Cowboys guru. He's insane, knows a lot of football, sure as hell knows the Cowboys, but I'm excited to get them two on. They said they'd be willing to do it, so hopefully we get them on here, talk some football, talk a little trash. We've been friends since we've been growing up. I was getting at earlier with Ian, too. One of my oldest memories of Ian, we were at one of our high school, we went to the same local high school game. We were maybe 10 years old. He was 2 years older than me, so maybe I was 8, 10. He was, 2 years older than me. But I remember we had Packer jerseys on. Our grandmas were pretty good friends growing up and stuff like that. And, we're throwing the old pigskin around. We both are the only kids at the football game with Packer jerseys on. I thought that was pretty interesting. I want to say that. But, yeah, lifelong friends of mine. Want to get them on here. They know sports. Just, basically shit talk. Have some friendly banter. Be, good for the show. And they're very knowledgeable. So that's all I got today. It was great, having you guys listen again. One thing I want to talk about, or want to mention for next week, I also ordered a mic. Got a Blue Yeti mic coming. Hopefully that'll improve the sound quality. Just, trying to improve this every week as best as I can. But thanks for listening, guys. This is Spaces Laces. I'm your host, Jeff Meyer. Over and out.